What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? We're deep into the 2025 season at this point, and week 7 brings up an AFC West clash that always brings the heat. Chiefs versus Raiders. Yes, it's Raiders week. This is a must-win divisional showdown. We need this one for tiebreakers, for momentum, and to make a statement in the West and for the division. So, Rashee Rice is all eyes on him this week. He is eligible to play again. He has showed up at practice this week. Things are going to be real interesting now that he's back in the picture finally. So watch how the offense injects another weapon as we continue to build off of the success of the last couple of weeks. On the Raiders side, they're dealing with injuries of their own. So over the next few minutes here, I'm going to walk you through the injury updates, matchups, keys to winning, who I'm watching, and how Kansas City needs to dominate this one. So let's get into it. First, let's talk the health reports that can really tilt the matchups. On the Chiefs side, we don't know what's up, but Josh Simmons, our offensive tackle, is still listed as the only player not practicing in the last injury report that's available due to personal reasons. We saw this last week against the Lions as well. However, Jalen Moore stepped up and did a fine job last week, if I do say so myself, and we're going to look forward to the same, if not better, performance from him this week. Meanwhile, our receivers, Hollywood Brown, Nico Remigio, Xavier Worthy, and then tackle Juwan Taylor were full participants in practice. And then on the season, we still have already Nazeeh Johnson, of course, still on injured reserve. Ethan Driscoll is on the non-football injury list. And then, of course, Jake Brandonstool, our tight end, still on the IR there as well. Now, and as a reminder, Felix, he went to the IR list before the season even started, unfortunately. So that some of that stuff hasn't changed, but the big change there is that we still don't know what's up with Josh Simmons. So and they've been pretty close-lipped, tight-lipped about it, so we don't know what's happening there, but we do know that our backup JMO is showed us that he was ready, and that's why we pay him the big dollars. So we are missing depth on the edges, tight end and the backup tackle spot, but the core receiving core is healthy going into this week here. Now, on the Raiders side, what I found is that their depth chart shows Geno Smith as their quarterback this week, of course, with wide receivers Jacoby Myers, who hasn't really done it too much. But on their injury list, what's interesting to watch is that Brock Bowers is still listed as out. Will he be at game time decision where they're going to all of a sudden spring him into the game, or will they just keep him out, go into their bye week, and give him another week of whatever he needs? We're going to find out. So that suggests that the Raiders might be thinner in their receiving tight end room, which could open up matchup opportunities for our defense. Now, here are the key matchups and what to watch. These are the battles that I'll be zooming in on as I watch this game. Rice and Brown and Worthy versus the Raiders secondary. With Rice back this week, how quickly can he resync with Mahomes? And if the Raiders cornerbacks or safeties are taxed, we can create mismatches and really open up with all of our receiving options. Now, Spags pass rush versus the Raiders pass protection. This is going to be something to look at because the injuries on the Raiders tight end, wide receiver depth could force quick throws to happen. Kansas City needs to bring pressure, especially early, to disrupt the timing. We need to make this happen. Now, the Raiders running back, Ashton Jeanty versus Kansas City's run defense. Feel like Ashton Jeanty hasn't been doing as much as he could be doing, but he's shown the ability to break tackles and get yards after the catch. Kansas City's front has to stay disciplined here, fill the gaps, and limit the broken runs. Now, Geno Smith under pressure and his decision-making abilities when hit or forced off rhythm. Can we force turnovers or bad throws from him? I really believe that we can. It'll be interesting to see the numbers that come from this, though. I'm expecting to see defense do a lot in this game this week. Travis Kelce and our tight end usage versus the coverage looks. We might see more attention to Kelce this week. Plus, there's going to be mismatches in overloading zones or bracket strategies here. Now, in the third downs and the red zone efficiency area, these close games often come down to converting when it matters, both on offense and defense. So these are things that I'm really going to be paying attention to. Here are the things that Kansas City, we have to do these things so that we win this game. These are must-do items for us to take the W. We got to protect Mahomes. Give him clean pockets, use slide protections, quick throws, chip blocks. we need to force turnovers, interceptions, force fumbles, disrupted throws. We got to win the battle in the turnovers here. We have to win in the trenches as well, both on the running block and the defensive front. But when it comes to third down and red zone execution, we can't settle for field goals this week. I don't trust the consistency from y'all know who. But also, we can't allow the Raiders to extend their drives whatsoever. We have to also, when players are injured, we play who's available. So we need to exploit the Raiders' injuries, especially in the wide receiver and tight end depth. We need to send extra coverage to weaker matchups and just exploit this. We have to stay disciplined. Y'all saw it last week, 0 penalties that were called and accepted versus the previous week where we had 13 of them. We need to avoid ridiculously timed penalties or blown assignments in critical moments. So stay disciplined, Chiefs. And then, of course, adjusting mid-game. If the Raiders scheme changes, we have to be ready to counter at any given moment. So we got to be able to make those adjustments on the fly. We can't wait to make the adjustments. I don't want to wait to make the adjustments because sometimes they don't happen. And we are playing a game against a team who comes in giving us their all because this is like their Super Bowl. Now, players to watch from Kansas City side, y'all. Patrick Mahomes, clearly, if he's on, we are always dangerous. Travis Kelce, his mismatch power is always key here. Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice. Their chemistry matters with Patrick Mahomes, and having Rashee Rice back in this week is going to be huge. The talk and the buildup of his return has been enormous, and it's going to be something to witness come Sunday. Now, Juwan Taylor and the O-line group, their battle will define pass protection. Juwan Taylor has done a great job last week, the week before, of you didn't hear his name when it came to penalties. So I'm just hoping to keep that keeps up. And then, of course, always to watch Chris Jones and the defensive front. We need pressure and control on that line, right? So my prediction for this week is that my gut tells me that the Chiefs take this one if we execute a well-disciplined football game. I've got Kansas City 33, Raiders 24, and that's what I'm leaning towards. I'll be watching those early drives, whether Kansas City sets the tone or lets the Raiders breathe, which I hope we don't. Let's choke them out. I expect Rice to make an immediate impact. And if we mix the run and the pass smartly, bring in Isaiah Pacheco and how angry he's been running and the way that he's been able to run recently in the last 2 weeks here, if we mix the run and pass smartly, apply pressure, limit our mistakes, we control this game. Chiefs Kingdom, I want y'all to drop your predictions below. Who's your X factor in this game? And this is a divisional W that we absolutely need to secure. So, as always, I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Drop them in the comments below and go Chiefs.